10:29, we will reconvene, please. Can I have somebody move that we receive the Workplace Health and Safety Report? Councillor Arthur, seconded Councillor Gleeson. Those in favour? Carried. Brett?
Mr Mayor, at the last meeting, Councillor Arthur requested that we Workplace Health and Safety Report back into the agenda, which I have done, and I've given you a sample of graphs showing our health and safety performance. There's other information that you would like, let us know and try to accommodate that.
Questions?
No, Mr Mayor, just to, yeah, good to see that it's back in there and gives us a bit of an idea of what's going on in the workforce.
Councillor Gleeson.
Mr Mayor, just in the pie graph inspections book and location, is that how many incidents have been reported? Parramatta 25 Alpha 1, or it's got inspections, or is that how many times people need to inspect?
Yes, so as part of our Workplace Health and Safety program, supervisors and managers have to do various inspections. So there's just basically a check. How many have occurred? Just checking that things have been done correctly, safely. So it's just a number that have occurred as per our audit schedule. It doesn't mean there was anything wrong. Routine.
Further questions? Three, 336. Marlborough Med Chair. Brett. Supporting material first.
Mr Mayor, so at the December meeting, Council received a request for someone who was interested in buying the land and building where the Muttaburra Med Shed is housed. Council at that meeting agreed to sell that building by tender. So after that decision was made, there was quite a few representations by phone and email with special members not happy with that decision. So Paula and I went to Muttaburra before Christmas. We met with a couple of representatives from the men's shed. Then following that, we then had another meeting in February where we met with the whole men's shed. It's all the members because there's only three. At the first meeting, I think there's only two. Yep. So then we had a meeting and there was 10 turned up to the second meeting. Plus they had 7 apologies recorded. And we explained the process that we're going through. I explained that council is going to allocate funding to build them a new shed. But the feeling from that meeting was they weren't interested, that they wanted to keep their shed. So I then asked them that if they'd have a vote, to see them judge the move. The vote was unanimous that they wanted to stay in their existing location. So I said I'd bring their resolution back to council. Councillors to consider. We did try to explain the benefits of a new shed, but they were just focused on wanting to keep their old shed.
Right, councillors, the recommendation is that we receive their request to retain the existing building and not proceed with the sale of their location at 34 Redkins. Councillor Peoples.
Mr Mayor, before we go with that resolution, can we sort of just add something in there that maybe the CEO works on a lease between the men's shed and council of who's responsible for what to? Because I don't think we want to keep injecting funds into this shed. I think that I think there should be some sort of lease done up, so as we don't have to. Well, we've already done the electricity for, I don't know, 13,000 or something like that. I think I think there should be some sort of agreement there between our CEO, between council and the occupiers of this men's shed.
Are you suggesting words to the effect that further council enters into a lease for this premises with the Munnabara Men's Shed Association,
Yep.
limiting council's further exposure to ongoing investment in that facility?
Happy with that?
I wasn't listening, I was writing, sorry.
After Munnabara, further. Full stop, sorry. Further, that council enters into a lease arrangement with the Munnabara Men's Shed for the premises at 34 Redkins Street. That limits council's further exposure. Not further. Just check the word exposure here in context of what I'm about to say. Limits council's ongoing exposure. Yeah, ongoing exposure to building cost, further investment or continued investment.
And I was just going to go on and give some certainty of tenure to
As well as providing certainty of tenure. Instead of and, it will be as well as providing certainty of tenure. You move to that. Move to Councillor Peoples. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hanson seconds. Comment, debate.
Mr Mayor, I still agree with the original motion. I can appreciate that.
Sorry, you mean the original as is?
As in, no, the December resolution where we resolved to do something with the men's shed. I will concede that there may not have been, from the community group's point of view, enough consultation prior to it. But I think I speak for all the councillors. Our intention was never to shut the men's shed down. And I had a look at the video because in my mind, I thought we discussed it, but it was at the budget meeting the day before. So the community has not seen some of the discussion that we did see because it was part of the budget deliberations.
Although, did you represent at that meeting what council's intention was with respect to LRCIP funding?
I appreciate that from the acting CEO, but I think it's an old asset that has ongoing, continual maintenance issues that we have no idea what's going to cost us, and I think by doing this, we miss an opportunity to give the town of Muttaburra a better asset. I appreciate the community group say they don't want it. But I am still of the opinion that we've got an opportunity to move on an old asset and ideally pump some money into the community and give them a better asset, not just for the men's shed, but for future use. And sorry, Mr. Mayor, so a procedural thing, that negates our previous resolution. We don't have anything, we don't need a separate
And we're outside 3 months, we need to do different if we're inside.
inside, right, okay.
Adjust what we are.
Yeah.
Further comments or debate on the proposed, on the moved resolution?
Brilliant, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Dan's
Councillor Arthur.
Councillor Arthur, what he said. I feel like if the Muttaburra men's shed were to understand, like this is a new motion or a new idea of leasing it so that they have continued tenure, but then also they might have very high costs into the future. Knowing that might actually make them reconsider having a new shed. Also, maybe they might need a little bit of a cooling off period, like just some of the members might change their mind or, like
Did you have that? They had the first meeting post the December meeting and then they were met again 2.5 months later. So, and that position only strengthened. They went from 2 members turning up to say we don't want this to 10 members plus 7 apologies with the same view. So the mood grew.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the only thing would be that they would not have been aware that they might have to foot the bill for further costs. And if they had known that, they may not have wanted to stay with the old shed.
Mr. Mayor, no, they were well aware. They said to replace the wall. The only offer we did have was the old air conditioning of the hall being taken down. We offered that to them use, but they have to install it themselves.
So you made that clear to them.
And it'll be on. Yeah, so they brought that up about future costs because they were saying, well, I will agree with that. And the other, with Councillor Peoples about the lease arrangement, I think that's, if this is going to go ahead, I think that's a good idea because they did say, is council going to do this to us again in a couple of years? That was the comment from the meetings. They do have certainty of tenure. I think that would ease their concerns as well.
Probably makes it a bit more, they're probably more willing to spend some money to do the improvements if they've got certainty of tenure too.
Councillor Plum.
Brett, how long has the men been in the men's shed over there? That shed that we're discussing, like. So is it 4 years? 4 years that they've been able to use that as a men's shed. And possibly in the last 4 years there's only been 2 men. 3 men?
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know who uses
It's
it.
been a long time and there's been not a lot of improvement.
They do have a fair bit of equipment. But I don't know how to use it gets.
Further comments?
Oh, through you, Mr Mayor, even though I'm against that resolution, I'm for the lease arrangement if it does go through. As in, I'm against reversing our previous decision. I'm happy to go through with some sort of lease agreement arrangement.
Lease and audience and comments?
It's really, Mr Mayor, I think community MPs showing pretty strong intent that they don't want to lose that sort of for that resolution.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I agree, and the CEO and the district manager have been over there twice, put the cards on the table, and and we've added more sections onto this. I'm happy to continue.
Councillor Peoples, would you like to close?
No, Mr Mayor, I think it explains sort of my thoughts on it up there. I've listened to the arguments from other councillors, my co-councillors, but I'm happy to stick with that.
Motion to the vote. Those in favour? Against? Okay, 5T.
Can I be
Councillors
Mr Mayor?
Plum and Arthur voting against the resolution.
My worries is that becomes and what do we do with an old building?
Very good, thank you. Councillor Arthur, I think you have a PCLI.
Yes, I do. Actually, wanting it, Mr Mayor.
337, Brett.
Mr Mayor, we're doing a winding job for Department Main Roads on the Capricorn Highway, east of Alpha. The first stage of that is to replace all the culverts on that road. And so initially we called quotes on vendor panel, believing that the job was going to be under 200,000. It was then realised that they would require more, a second contractor to help with that. So as there was only one contractor originally quoted, as per the procurement policy, we then went out to find other contractors. We approached the contractor in Longreach, he wasn't available. We then went to a contractor in Emerald. So that work commenced, and then after several months I realised that both of those contractors were going to be paid over 200,000 a year. So under local government regulation and our procurement policy, anything over 200,000 has to be approved by council. And go through a process, a different process. As we had to keep working, so I authorised that those two contractors continue to work while we call quotes again on vendor panel. As you can see, there was 4 contractors put prices in, and the 2 existing contractors were the 2 lowest prices.
I'm happy to help to see how we move this, Mr. Mayor, but can I ask the 2 questions? One, why we're on a day rate, and is there any issue there with having 2 contractors so far apart doing the same job?
Even so far apart.
The one's on 3485 a day, and the other's on 4895 a day.
There is a reason for that.
So there is different equipment.
Okay.
Which of those contractors is using. Yeah, so they're working together but with different equipment. So it's a combination, and obviously because they'd already been doing the work, they knew what costs were exactly. The problem we've got is that there wasn't clear direction about how big the job was to start with, and the scope kept changing.
From TMR's perspective.
From TMR, which is why
it's day rates. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
There's no provision of materials in that, so they're literally providing their labour and their equipment, and then there's the cement and Rio and so forth being procured through a separate process, so that we can have a more itemised approach to what those costs in those jobs are and keep a handle on that so that we can track that to TMR. Councillor Hanson.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's day rate or weekly rate, but there's no end date. Does that just leave that they might end up costing us $400,000 because when are they going to be finished? How long are they going to be there for?
I spoke to the engineer this morning, and they're aiming to have the job finished by the 30th of June. So both of these, it will be roughly $500 million each by the time they're, which is within the TMR budget.
It's just there was no end date there, so we could have gone on for 2 years going like this.
See, the thing is, the job was thrown at TMR with very little advance warning, and what was also thrown in was an end date to get it done. So they knew we needed to do culverts, but they hadn't costed and designed every single culvert crossing. So the ones that they'd done, they said, here, go, and we'll keep adding to them. As we get them designed and costed, we'll keep adding on to the back. So, yeah, the end date for us was the end date for when the whole lot of the works has got to be completed, which is the 30th of June, because their funding runs out at the same time.
So
I mean, TMR's funding.
It is a fully funded job as well.
No, fully funded.
I'm happy to move if there's no more questions.
Councillor Lisa, did you have another question? Oh, sorry, Councillor Plum, one of yours already here. Did I?
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Mayor, you explained a little bit there, quite a bit, and that is why when you drive down the road that there's culverts done here and not done there, because it's happening as it's going, and if it's and it's a TMR fully funded, so.
Yeah, I mean, they're leapfrogging some of them because some of them were more difficult from a design perspective. So they said, here's the easy ones, or here's the big ones, or here's what we've done. And then, they've done some of the side tracks for some because we had gear standing by, but they haven't actually done the design for the culverts and the side track sealed. There's lots of things. I do feel really sorry for the development and planning team at TMR because they were given a massive amount of money, which is fantastic, but it was much more and earlier and much more volume than they were anticipating in that respect, so the planning's been thrown out. But the work's starting to really rapidly roll out now, which is why the dollars are starting to really rapidly add up.
Second that.
So Councillor Beckles moves, Councillor Hanson seconds. Any further comment? All in favour? 6-0. Councillor
That's what it's saying.
What I want to know.
That's what it's saying.
Oh, especially you and I don't, because we're not paid to attend the meetings. They all do. We get paid our salary whether we attend the meetings or the council meetings or not. This resolution, given the conflict of order. Councillors, this resolution, obviously there's been a glaring oversight when we the dates. Now there's been another pickup that we've committed to a third party to have access to this room on that day. Options are you don't move the meeting at all, you move it to the Thursday and we have another location, or we ask the third party to not use this room, the Energy Queensland Board, or we get out of that week altogether and go to the 23rd of May, Monday the 23rd.
Mr. Mayor's another option is maybe we could have a meeting in Alpha.
We could, or we could have the Thursday meeting in Aramac as well to get around here, that's right. Either of those options are possible. So, whatever you would like to do.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy with that option. If someone else wants another option, I'm happy to go.
Right. Councillor Adams, which is presented there. Right, Councillor Peoples, we'll just go one by one.
I'm okay with whatever suits the rest because I've got no date issues there. I don't think so. That'll do me.
Councillor Gleeson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy.
To go on the Thursday?
Yeah.
And have it where?
Oh, where it suits everybody.
Councillor Arthur.
Flexible, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Plum. Is that really not helping?
Oh, sorry, Bob.
The reason being, because we're not having it on Tuesday because of the show, will the show committee be finished? Will you be finished by Thursday?
Yeah, the show finishes Wednesday. The holiday's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Show's Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, so will you be finished?
Well, it's not only myself and staff and managers and other councillors who may be a part of the event or wish to represent council at it. It's one of the 3 shows. So, yes, the actual commitments for those people to attend publicly and represent council are well and truly finished on that day.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's your meeting prep. It's probably the immediate question.
Could we have an alpha on the Tuesday?
Probably negates the same thing, involvement in the show by councillors or staff that would be helping a community event. They're going to be locked in the boardroom. But we can do that, yes. Violence is golden.
I think I did 150 times in year 7 because I said that.
Sorry, councillor.
I had to write it out 150 times in year 7 because I said that in the classroom. I'll never forget it.
Effectively, silence is
Councillor.
happy to go Thursday and
So just bear in mind, councillors' budget. The workshops budget. We did previously, currently we have scheduled the 16th as a budget workshop, followed by the council meeting on the 17th. You move one, would you like to move the other?
Move them both to Monday and Tuesday the next week.
Problem is, that sounds perfect and we could probably do that. I just have a rapid board meeting, Outback Regional Roads Group, rapid water and sewage lines and Central West Pest Management meeting on that Tuesday in Longreach. Tuesday the 24th. The other option would be go right out in the month, which puts us very late, the 30th and the 31st. Given that the June meeting's scheduled for the 14th, means it'd only be a fortnight between them and 6 weeks between the other ones. But there is a proposal to allow for more time for budget meetings after yesterday and today that would push the April meeting back until after Easter, which could pull more, which would allow us to, if we met the 26th and 27th, we could have that budget workshop that's forecast in May, could be held in April, and then if there's still drastic changes that you propose as councillors, we could incorporate that and have another follow-up workshop before we actually have to present the budget in June. So,
did you mention moving the April meeting to 26, 27?
I did. But
Is that realistic with Monday then?
Well, I think it is. It's,
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah, I think we could, because when you look at the time from now until the April meeting, and then if we push May back, so all I'm saying is if you put the April meeting to the 26th, 7th, that would allow you to put the May meeting to the 30th and 31st, and there's only 4 weeks there over a period of a lot of public holidays.
The June meeting's the 14th of June, which is where the budget will be adopted. We've got to give 2 weeks clear, be the 30th of May. If you had your final budget workshop on the 30th, that would give you your final presentation of the budget on that day. We've got 2 weeks clear then to the budget adoption on the 14th. Still might need another budget workshop.
So I'm proposing 2 more. If we have one on the 27th, 26th or 27th of April, another one on the 30th of May, that's your 2 more. You present it at the 30th. And then adoption's flagged for the 14th. I'm realising that changes 2 dates, councillors, but there's a lot of public holidays in there in that period. Easter, 4 days of Easter. I'm in your hands. We've just got to make a decision and move with it. Oh.
So the 26th and 27th of April and the 30th of the 1st of March.
It's your suggestion. And do you want a budget workshop the day before and then general meeting, or general meeting and then, sorry, yeah.
Budget in January.
That would mean that April general meeting would be on Wednesday the 27th, and the general on the 26th. Sorry, the budget on the 26th. And then budget workshop on the 30th of May and general meeting on the 31st.
When's the general meeting?
In April it would be on Wednesday the 27th. And in May it would be on the 31st. Bear in mind, there's one major part of the budget we haven't yet looked at, and that's the operational plan. We do need 2 workshops really to go through that. Hopefully we can get all the figures out of the road this afternoon and get into the operational plan next meeting, or in between now and the next meeting. Is there any schedule conflict with councillors? I understand once we lock something in our calendars, people build a lot of stuff around that. And if we move now and you've already committed to something, now it's probably the time to speak. It's why councillors are after to speak on not being flexible once we've got the date. Sorry, we stick to the dates if we can, but I'm just thinking in this case there might be a really good reason to push them back. You're right. Obviously you're right, councillor.
So what day was the June one?
It is the 14th. We're not moving it. We're not proposing to move it.
That's the Tuesday.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, you're saying Monday, May is Monday, Tuesday?
Yep.
31st.
To give us 14 days clear with the budget presentation. So generally it can be on Tuesday like they normally are, or have been lately. That is also reconciliation week, so I'm not sure what events are planned, but if we're here in meeting we may be able to be part of reconciliation week.
What about April? When was the date in April?
The proposal is the general meeting on the 27th, the budget meeting on the 26th. You've got Anzac Day Monday.
Day after Easter.
Anzac Day Monday, Tuesday would be budget, Wednesday would be general.
Mr Mayor, May's nothing.
30th and 31st.
30th and 31st.
That's the proposal from Councillor Plum. Councillor Hanson, can you fit with that?
I'm good with that.
Councillor Beagles?
No, I'm not going, Mr Mayor.
You were flexible before, Councillor? So the resolution will be that the May council meeting will be Tuesday the 31st of May and the April meeting will be Wednesday the 27th. And May council meeting to Tuesday 30th. Move up. Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Plum, and those in favour? 7-0. 339. Aramak Recreation and Camping Ground. Council endorses the decision of the CEO to change the name of the land previously known as the Aramak Program to the Aramak Recreation and Camping Ground. Moved Councillor Peoples, seconded Councillor Plum, all in favour? Carried 7-0. 341, Summit. Hope you found more money for us overnight. No?
It's been
Right.
on the system, we've gone back.
Yep. Still in front of 2 months though, our long-term average. Question, Mr. Sarmad, on finance.
Through you, Mr Mayor, is there a simple, short answer to the going back to 3 months, clear from 4?
What's your explanation first? Mr. Mayor. Yeah, last one we received some claims from TMR and other jobs which were in arrears, which added up to the bank, but for this one we haven't received more than 200k TMR claims. So all the work that we've done up to Christmas, guys went on, all the crews went on holiday, got all the claims. We got all that money, now they've started work again. We've paid out the bills, but obviously got a claim again.
Yeah, so realistically, if the claims were earlier, that would be a flatter as opposed to a peak and a dip. We would just maybe have been at 3 months for the last, possibly since December, as opposed to higher income.
That pattern it's probably a true pattern. You aim for Christmas, do the jobs, and then 30th of June is your next deadline, so everything's done.
Yeah.
All the claims go in June.
There's a lot of outgoings in around January that doesn't translate back because we're so much of the month shut.
Yeah.
As well. Not a lot of claiming activity.
Yep. That's right.
Any questions from the balance sheet? Right, 342, Councillor People.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor.
Oh, sorry, can I have somebody move that we receive the report, please? Councillor Gleeson, seconded Councillor Plum. Those in favour? Carried. If there's no more questions, Councillor, I'll just ask you to stay and then leave when we get to the discussion surrounding Water Street.
Okay.
Right. We'll go through these one page at a time. Goal 1, community projects. Questions?
Through you, Mr Mayor, one I ask at this time. Are we confident we'll do that work? Oh, I know the direct percentages of spend to the budget, but we've only got 3 months left.
Men's shed? How are we going with that men's shed awning in Alpha?
Yeah, I've got the, Mr Mayor, I've got the design of that, and that'll be going out very shortly. So it'll be definitely done before 30th of June, that contract.
Definitely done, so the material procurement won't be a problem. That's what we need for that. All right. Caravan Park Aramac, well, we've extended that project. Is that right? So it'll roll over anyway. Some of like the extension work, what would be up? What we'd already committed funds for, will there be enough on?
Just waiting on the tank and the poly pipe for the water. It hasn't arrived, but everything else is pretty much done and on station.
And so those things haven't arrived and been paid for yet either, I'm assuming, so that'll come down a bit. The rec grounds camping in Mullabara?
So yeah, they've been working over there. I'm not sure where they're exactly up to, but there'd be bills to come in pretty shortly for that as well.
Fine. Next one's done, under budget. Water Rec Park. An underspend there, or is there still things to be costed to that, Jenny?
There's some stuff that's been costed to the wrong spot.
So a lot of that 96 will disappear?
Oh, the construction of the...
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have any information on the construction of the rec park, the amenities one.
This is mostly to do, Mr. Mayor, electricity and
We don't pay for that.
things you haven't.
So it's done, it just hasn't been paid for, so that'll chew up 80 of 90. Then the amenities building, that 119 will
There's still, I think, a final payment to the contractor. And
so it's done, the work's done.
the work's completely closed.
Splash pad, the pool project in Aramac.
Yeah, so they're due on site early May, late April.
Okay. And their completion date hasn't moved from 30 June?
No.
Paving around the pool of Mullabara, that's complete, under budget. Complete, Jenny, also under budget. The Patterson Pavilion, Bath. Complete, over budget by $7. Satellite dishes, okay, we discussed this yesterday. More info still on that. Cemetery fence Jericho, Damien, still a bit to do there.
Mr Mayor, yeah, the front fence side of it's done. We may be able to utilise some of the other fencing on the other side there with that 7,500 that's which there's actually no current fence on the Alpha side at that cemetery there.
Is there work underway to design what we want to do there?
Yeah, just to go with the similar to what the other chain mesh fence has been going along there as well. Just to put an actual new fence in there.
Do you think that'll happen by the end of the year?
I'll be putting it out to see what quotes I can get done.
Right. Cemetery fence Alpha
That's
completed.
Yep.
Sorry, I should have seen that. Barcall and town fence. That's complete, Jenny, under budget. Flood mitigation. That's complete. And priority flood cameras. That's a TMR project.
Yeah, we'll have to follow that up. So that is a TMR project.
And special operating town entrances, gardens. Some of that's what's to go there.
Yeah, I've just got to finalise with some of that. I didn't know whether that comes into also with our
One you've just done in Settlers Parks.
Yes, yep.
Follow up on that one. Tropic of Capricorn is done. Jenny, is that right?
I'm just waiting for the quote for that. We have a design, just waiting for a quote.
You expecting you'll get it before the end of the year?
Yeah, it should be done.
Another Pool maintenance, special maintenance, it's done, is it, or is there still more to do there?
No, it's not.
That was the stuff where he cut it out and put the new base around it, is that it? Replace, yep. Bollards, done. Not the Flying Fox management plan, hasn't been done, has it? Not going to get done? Or that, maybe?
There is actually a funding program open at the moment. We may be able to get that funded. But no, it probably won't get done by the 30th of June.
But it gets funded. Landscaping, Barcaldine. At the red part.
Yeah, there's some costs, sorry, that was one I was looking at before. There's some costs there, I think we've gone to the wrong job that I'll move, so. But there's some trees that we've just acquired for planting along the front fence line.
The cemetery upgrades, what are we talking about here? This is across the three larger cemeteries. No activity yet, what are we doing here?
No, I don't think we'll use our money this year. It's not, I've had a look a few times, there's nothing that really needs doing out there at this time.
Or
No, nothing.
Alpha will be doing, Mr Mayor, will be doing a lawn cemetery.
oh, okay, so
Yeah, chapel. $10,000
Loose enough.
what is it, 10 I've got to count to, or 10,000? Lawn cemetery, so with the concrete heading, same as we have in Aramax.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. So will that be done? Is it going to go out?
Yep.
Right, let's keep going through the list then. Did you have any questions?
No.
That's a summary of them. Get my page upside down. Goal 2, services. Water mains, complete. Acacia Street bore. That's contracted to be practical completion by 30 June, yes? Have they signed the contract?
Yes.
Solar installations are complete. Water treatment plant. Is this, what's the difference? This 53, is that water work still to occur?
Well, this was the ongoing program from the Simmons Bristow report. But now that we've got this other,
That's work to be halted.
unless it's safety work, so a lot of that was actually just physical safety upgrades like rails and stairs and that. So, but until we get this other report, we won't.
So the next 3 line items, and including the SCADA and telemetry for sewerage, is question mark over timing there because it depends on what options we need to do. That'd be right. Sewage treatment plant stage 1. Wastewater treatment, that's done. What are we just waiting the arrival of the trickling filter? No, that is the next one. So what's the 600,000 still to do?
So that was the original project, which is the upgrade to the UV filter, balance tank, other works. Then we added the trickling filter in. The second stage of the LGGSP funding. So the trickling filter is a discrete project.
So it's due to arrive any day.
So the 3 containers were offloaded in Brisbane. They were waiting on fumigation. That was last week. So they said that was 10 days and then they've been delivered on site.
So we're going to see stage 1, 2 complete this year. Are we going to see stage 1 complete?
The funding requires it to be complete.
Stage 1 as well?
1, 2.
Okay, so the funding requires it. Is it going to be complete? Or will we seek an extension?
There is no extension.
So probably an even more important question. It definitely will happen because we'll lose it and then have to fund it ourselves. Yes, we'll have to, but no, we won't have to.
We will have to fund it ourselves if we don't spend the money.
But we are going to spend the money.
Yes. So there,
Stage 3,
that's complete. So that's the water pipeline.
so that is complete.
So that was under budget. Right.
waste landfill. Is that complete or very near?
The leachate management system was the main thing we were waiting for.
What about the bins?
The bins are here, they're at the depot. Just some signage to go up. So where to place the waste.
So that'll be complete this year. Aramac waste landfill, which is the general sort of, is that done pretty well? What you're planning to do this year, or is there a bit more left?
Yeah, no, we're not doing anything more there.
Right, so that's complete. Reservoir cleaning.
That was a rapid project. So that was regional. I think we had a problem when they came to do our tankers. The water was too hot. So that may not have occurred.
Is it going to?
No, well, it won't till, sorry, spare yet, so it may not. I'll check with the engineers whether
Question mark?
they're coming back to do it, or we'll just have to wait till the next round.
Repair for the old halls in Alpha and Jericho. That's in red. That's deferred. In light of what other works underway. Asset management plan, is this it's over budget already? Is it going to be finished? How much more are we going to need to put out?
Yes, to that. It needs to be complete because we need to get those value for the financial statements.
Is the sewage management, asset management plan done? No. Still waiting. Overweighting completion. Aramac sewage treatment plan assessment report, that is done?
That is done. And that was, yeah, so the costings there, it was all included. It was a regional account that we paid, so it just hasn't been split up between Aramac.
Marlborough one's been done as well.
Yeah, they're both done. So the Aramac one is what we used to get the grant to do the upgrade.
Questions on service? Right. Transport. I think we can safely leave the conversation around the flood damage, can we? Anyone got any questions about it? Work underway.
Through you, Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
even if we move on, like maybe for next month, because that would probably be a better reflection of where we are at the 3/4 mark.
75%.
Yeah, because this, even though this is this month, it's really
Last month.
up to February. But yeah, I just have some concerns that we've still got a lot of work to do, and
Well, I'd like to go through these roads. I think we should go through these roads.
yeah, but for next month, if we can have like stuff that we know that we're not going to do, can we have just like a little exception report?
So the CEO's quarterly report will be, progress report will be next month.
And I appreciate it. It's especially difficult at the moment because we've got a director of works. It's just that, yeah, from now, like this time of year, there's a lot of public holidays. We've got a lot of disruptions in our workforce ability.
Plus we've got a lot of external TMR jobs that need to be done by the 30th.
And some of that funding is June 30 or we're paying for it out of our backlog. But yeah, continue with them.
So rural roads reseals, that project will be complete because we can see it underway at the moment. Even if it rains all of April, they'll still get it done. Sculpture trail stopping bays, are they scheduled to be done? Right. Mile Street drainage. Where are we at with it? Been designed, has it been called?
I believe it's ready to start.
Tender's been awarded. We're doing it ourselves.
Is that, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, is that the same answer, same questioning and same answer for the sculpture trial? Is there going to be plans or anything, or is it going out for tender, or is the local people, our local
Our
shop?
staff's doing the stopping roads.
When they do the road construction. Right.
It appears to me that most of that road's been graded absolutely beautifully.
Yeah. But don't
But once again, there could have been gravel dropped there and in the same issue, could at the same time. Could have been done at the same time. Okay.
Ash Street, that work's clearly started. Well, there's a screen up anyway. Origin Drive's finished. What do we put the rest of that tint across to? Right, question I notice.
The second seal's just gone down.
So it's marked as complete, but it's not. Is that right? So that second seal will eat that 12 and a half up. Right. Texas Road, that's been let, has it? That floodway?
I think it's has definitely been let.
The floodway upgrades at Pine Hill. Close to. And the Craven Road job. There's going to be a problem there.
Show what's show where that is at.
Bessemer Street footpath in Jericho. That's sort of, is that part of the Texas Road floodway job?
That's been let.
Ford Street pathway. Oh, yeah, how'd you go?
Well, then,
Mr Mayor, that was part of my reasoning for maybe pulling up with line by line, but
I appreciate your assistance. You need to, I'm only an old jockey, you've got to be more explicit as to why you want me to stop. Is there any more to do there?
They're nearly finished. They've got about 30 metres maybe this morning.
And that'll, pretty well wind that up then. That'll be done. Men's shed access here, Jenny?
That's complete. There's still some outstanding accounts to come in,
Okay.
but it is well under budget.
Oh, yeah, bring it back, sorry. Thank you. I'll keep going. Mark Gordon Airport, that reseal's part of this. Although it says that's complete. 86,000 under, surely we didn't reseal it for 13,000. Or did we?
That was done yesterday. The green pen must have cleared it.
Well, you knew it was done, but it's not 8,600 budget. Settlers Park access, has that been found an alternative thing there, or is that still
Mr
clean?
Mayor, I'll have to just check with the senior work supervisor. We were looking at getting that completed before the 30th.
So that's a turnaround in front of the toilets?
Yeah, in front of the toilets, and it goes around the garden at the end.
Yeah.
It enables caravans or traffic to drive up and turn around to go back out that way.
Right. Air asset management plan. That's a maybe.
excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Is it appropriate for me to ask a question? Craven Road. Was there an accident on Craven Road, the council area, or was it on the detour of Craven Road? Anything to do with the council, you believe?
First I'm hearing of it.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
No, I'm not sure.
That's really good, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
No, there hasn't certainly been anything reported that I've seen. So if you want to hop on the line, although we haven't got much to go, I think it certainly seems like not complete, but a lot of it also probably is that reporting thing you're talking about.
yeah, there's through you, Mr Mayor, there is a bit of a delay, but I just, like I said before, we've got a lot of public holidays, we've got a lot of work to do. Brisbane's been in trouble with freight and everything for the last couple of weeks with the flooding down there. I would think unless we've ordered and paid for stuff that requires steel or roofing or anything like that, yeah, just a order to delivery time frame at this time of year, and with everything else going on in the world, we're gonna.
Yeah. Just there's one that I might go to the District Manager Barn Calden about. We'll just briefly chat about it at morning tea. The village green lighting, Jenny. That's you're really striking difficulty there, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. So, council is just warning. Well, do you want any more information on it? It's been prosing. It's like that's one that may not happen.
Yeah, that's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Right. We'll have a look at the 3-quarter reporting
Yeah.
plan. It's happened, yes. We're not awaiting any new plans, are we?
2 graders arrived last week.
So, through Mr. Mayor, have we not paid for them even though we've got them delivered? Or just that lag?
No, they would have.
To you, Mr. Mayor, the invoices have been processed, they will be paid this week. They were processed just today, Mr. Mayor.
So we pay after. They're pretty generous.
They're very generous for something that costs that sort of money, but yeah. I suppose some of that's client relations and.
Yeah, they know it's coming.
Yeah.
They've probably already been paid for the trades. They've got a bit of their money back. All the rest is received.
No. Yeah.
We're waiting on mowers, tipper truck, water tank, the cockerel and the 4-wheel drive still.
So, 4 drives received. The 2 items have been received.
Grader, 4-wheel drive, the broom. Towable one. There's one there. Yep. Are we likely to get the rest this financial year? The truck will be a problem, is it?
Mr. Mayor, the question on the variance in the graders, is that the trade-in value? Is that the difference in the value? Is it the net budget cost is exactly the same? The committed is different. The net cost and the variance is one's 30,000 behind and one's 30,000 in front.
To check that for you. Not sure why that would be different.
There was different trade values. I can tell you the trade values. One traded at 198,000 and the other one traded at 187,000. Alpha one was 198 and Aramak one was 187. That's not 30,000 though. 11. Perhaps the purchase was.
Would have been identical machines to purchase them.
The inbound ones would have been, yes,
Yeah.
but they might have been different to what we budgeted for. There could have been a rise between when we budgeted them and then they priced and delivered. Like we had the budget down in July, the quotes were received in September. We could have got an estimate for them when we did the budget planning report in April. We all know how fast gear moved. It could have got bigger up. I don't know that, I'm guessing. Like there was 6 months between when we received the price and we quoted for the budget what the price would be.
Just what the budget cost was 430, committed was 460 and 399 on the committed.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we've paid for, we processed 438 for the Alpha grader.
Yeah.
And 439 for the
Yep.
What was the offer one, I'm sorry?
438.
But they're both the same price?
Yeah.
Both the same?
Less than that. One was 438, one was 439. Yeah. But there was a committed cost difference, so that's why the variance is 30,000. See, so Alpha had committed that it'd be 460,000, and its actual is going to be 438. So the variance is 30,000 on what was committed, and Aramac had committed 400,000, and it's 439. So it goes the other way. Is that right?
Because they're not the actual cost, there was just purchase order cost, so the actual invoices will come in 438 and 439.
Well, like you, I'm just wondering what the hell is a couple of $100 difference between the two graders. But obviously there's something. Freight.
$1,000 freight on the Aramac one.
Probably right. Delivery costs.
But the net, it still makes me small, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. We've got written down here on from us to look at it as a net cost of 464.66, and then we've got 438. Anyway, that's all right.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what you're saying there, Councillor Gleeson. Like there was an estimate put into the system of 460 so we could see what was coming, and it hasn't turned out to be that. 438, and the other one was an estimate of 399. So what would the reason officers be for the committed cost not to match the actuals?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Seems like the second cost entered into this might have missed the GST on it, which would have been around 440 or 445. But sure.
The Aramac line might have missed the GST. The committed costs might not include GST.
There's just looking at the order, there's a quick oil change. Engine 7,000.
It's not on the other machine.
But obviously the price that was included in the estimate. But the estimate's broken down to a number of items.
And that committed cost field is included there to show where council is. We may not have spent the money, but we're in a situation where it is essentially spent because we've placed an order for it. Is that right? So when the quote's received and we accept it, someone enters it into the system from the quote or from the order. So then if we accept the quote as it is, so if the quote is entered as a committed cost, how can it change?
Then you get the invoice.
Should the invoice match the quote?
It should, theoretically, but obviously this, whatever that quick oil change. I don't
Just 10% out. I'd want to know why a quote's 10% out. If the quote said it should have been $399,561, which is what it did come in at. It come in at $30-something thousand over that. If the quote and the order don't match the actual invoice, there's a problem, isn't there?
Yeah, that's why you check that.
So we have signed off on 439 and 438.
So, Mr. Mayor, definitely the Aramac grader has the GST not entered. When put as the committed cost, because it comes back to 439,517.
That is the GST.
It is the GST.
when someone entered the committed costs in from the quote, they didn't enter the GST. You put the GST into it, and then it comes to the exact amount. So the quote was matched. Right, whatever was quoted is what we're paying. Yes.
Jenny's gone to bring the note.
Any more questions about those project reports while we're waiting for that?
No.
Multi-tide roller must be nearly here. It's in there as committed costs, is it? Twice.
So, yeah, the answer is GST. One was entered without GST, the other one with GST.
Makes a slight difference, doesn't it?
10%? Yeah, usually. Slight
Give or
difference.
take.
Yes.
So, to Mr. Mayor, to elaborate on it a little bit further, they were both actually, purchase orders were both done for the quoted amount, GST exclusive of 411,900, but the one for Alpha came in at $600 cheaper.
So it's the freight cost.
So it would, yeah.
That bit of the freight. Yeah. It's pretty cheap even at that. Right. 343.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, we didn't have.
Oh, could I have somebody move that we received that report? Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Gleeson, those in favour, carried 6-0. Could I have somebody move we received the CCS report, please? Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Gleeson, sorry, Peoples, those in favour, 7-0. Questions? Somehow there's been some adjustments here. All the adjustments you made last month have continued to flow through. Right. Any questions? (351) Works report. Now, just before I hand to Brett to go through this, you'll note a changed detail in reporting here, which I commend Brett for doing in terms of collecting this down into the jobs. I had no actual knowledge that he'd already done that, and had a conversation the other day with him to see, as we engage our new Director of Works moving forward, like our works reports to be broken up into a couple of different things, and that to a large degree actually happened here, so well done. But I'd like to have a look at it broken up by what we currently have underway, what we have underway in the future that's been contracted already or let or planned, and what's future, as in what's on the drawing board and what's not necessarily yet even on the vendor panel or a decision's been made about timing of it. And I don't necessarily just mean construction jobs. I mean, if we're going to grade X road in May because we've let a tender to do it, we'll see that listed as it. And obviously we'll expect movements due to seasonal conditions. And with those jobs, who's doing them, so whether the contractor's doing them, council's doing them, is it flood damage, is it maintenance, is it CapEx, which jobs have been called, and when the expected commencement and completion dates for those are, so that when we're asked, we can say, and we can get a snapshot. But this not only is for council information, but it's for community information as well, so they can know the substantial roadworks planned on their road or on their street in the month of May, June, and they may have to make alternative arrangements. You know, for example, like we do very well with our reseal program, we let people know the out of the road or be prepared for delays. And I think it also just helps with stakeholder engagement when people know, okay, well, there's a grade planned on my road, or there's a flood damage construction or a gravel cart planned, or what it is, just a brief idea of what our planning process is, and I think it will help better inform. And if that's the reporting that council requires, I'm asking for, then it will help guide the planning stage of our senior work supervisor and director of works to approach that structure. Take a while to adopt, but I really think that giving us a snapshot of where we're at now, where we're going to be in the immediate future, and where futuristically we plan to be for the year. And it has a flow-on effect for contractors as well, and that's the topic information that comes in these agendas, but they can structure knowing what work's coming accordingly. So Brett started it here without having even had that conversation. Brett, your report.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. So councillors, I've tried to structure it so that it's a lot clearer what jobs are happening. Obviously, it's not as much detail as the Mayor's asking for, but at least you can clearly see what we're doing for TMR, and then on our roads as well, and then waste, sewage and water projects. We did have a meeting with TMR. We should have had 2 meetings with TMR about planned future works. So the next projects are from that last section into Aramac, on Aramac Barkey Road. So there's 2 jobs, Tranche 3 and the TITS project. Hopefully TMR are looking at some sort of a floodway upgrade to Aramac Creek, or the creek crossing there. Then, the other major job is the Cap Highway, which hopefully that will continue for years. That's what we're looking for. Then through the Beef Corridors program, getting the Alpha Tango Road sealed.
Questions?
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for outlining what's more appropriately. It's good, thank you.
Okay, all good. 361.
Sorry.
Oh, can I have somebody move to receive that report? Thank you, Councillor Gleeson and Councillor People. Seconds. Those in favour? Call again. Those in favour? 7-0. 361. Has somebody moved that we receive this report? Councillor Rogers, seconded. Councillor People, those in favour? 7-0. Note that this is a DCLI resolution, so all of your names will be individually recorded for purposes of the vote. I don't know if you've picked up that in the minutes, but if somebody declares an interest in it, even if they're not in the room, the Act or the regulations state that the way that everybody votes on a resolution, even if it's to zero, their names individually have to be recorded. It's a bit of a silly thing, especially with the unanimous vote. Like, it's obvious that everybody that's in the room voted in favour. But yeah, I don't know if you've ever picked up on that, but anything with a D or a P, COI, even if the person's out of the room, the councillor's out of the room. What Debbie's doing there now has to happen 7-0. You would have thought that probably could have worked that out for yourself, but anyway, according to the regs.
So the previous one there with regards to Water Street, that's saying,
I flippantly pointed it out then. Debbie and Brett go through this afterwards.
Yep.
Identify those from this cheat sheet that we write up at the start, which resolutions have to have the names individually recorded.
Okay.
Right. Amy, your report, complete with colour photographs.
Mr Mayor, I just wanted to make a comment to Lenny and the Alpha Parks and Gardens team, just on the excellent landscaping work that he's been able to create there in the Settlers Park. It's really come up good and it's received a lot of comments. Also, this week I'll be doing a follow-up meeting with the 10 towns, Rural Aid, and that'll be with all the 10 towns across Australia. So that just basically to get some a catch up and see how the projects are all running and with what funding we've got left in that project. So we're looking at some other options there. We may be able to buy some tables and chairs where we can relocate them to the showgrounds and also to any other events we have in the area.
Very good. Questions for Damien?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Just following up on the RLO's attempt to do something with the Euristia cactus in the Draco Common. So,
yeah, through you, Mr Mayor. There has been, I have followed up with the RLO and they have been doing some works with the spraying of the Euristia in the Jericho Common.
He's also, I did speak to him as well, Mr. Mayor, and he's been doing a lot of the highways, in the Capricorn Highway. But his comment was that it's not a cactus in private.
absolutely, and it's water. Most of the common there is a waterway flood area as well. I just want to follow that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, especially in that environment. It's nearly getting thick enough that a biological control agent's worth it. I had a look at it about August last year with a couple of private landowners who spent a fair bit of money on sprayers coming in, and it was just at the point that you still needed to spray, especially given one person didn't do anything. But yeah, I reckon another 2 years and it'll be thick enough that you'll be able to put a moth into it, I reckon, which would be great, to be honest, because the bug will get, does a pretty good job in the right seasonal conditions, but it's just a pest until then that it won't spread.
Yes, exactly.
Similar problem down Craven Road.
Yes.
Top end of Old Plains Road, there's a bit there on the road reserve. It pales into insignificance compared to what's out in paddock on some of the properties. Yeah, but the road is almost the waterway there for a fair bit as well, and it ends out.
It's a difficult one. We all know that. We know that it's a difficult one because if you go around and spray the individual bushes, well, the moths, the grubs can't do the job. So you've got to stand back and you've got to sit back and wait until it gets really, really thick, so that the bugs can do their job.
And then in the meantime, there's that much fruit and seed that birds have picked it up and carted it and pigs and whatever, and it's located in an area a long way from where that patch might be. Right, more questions for Damien? 371, can I have somebody move that we receive Paul's report? Councillor Hanson moves, Councillor Rogers seconds, those in favour? 7-0. Paul.
We had a working bee out at the race club a couple of weekends ago. They did a painting. They painted their new refurbished kitchen area. Come up very good. The new committee should really be congratulated on all their hard work that they do out there. They're doing a great job. And we've got a sausage sizzle and meeting tonight with the local ambulance committee to farewell our ambulance officer. So he's the senior ambulance officer, Gary, isn't he, Dan Herbert? Yeah, so he'll be leaving Aramac in a few weeks or...
Okay. Questions for Paul? Well done to the rugby club. Right. 317, Council Peoples. Okay. Paul, anything to add?
No, it just speaks for itself. It's over the $500 that I can award them, so just for it consideration.
Questions regarding the application? More information required by any councillor? Okay. Comments now on whether to go or not to go with the recommendation. Oh, sorry, with the request. Support or not support, I should say.
Greetings to me. I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation.
You better make a choice.
The council agrees to sponsor the Aramac Race Club.
For $1,500. Okay. That's what Plum seconds that. Comment against? Put to the vote. Those in favour? 6-0. Councillor Peoples can rejoin us. Councillor Rogers, you may lead us.
You're right, Tom.
Paul, anything you'd like to add here?
No, same story.
Any councillor want any more information? Councillor Plum, are you moving that? Sorry, question?
Mr Mayor,
I haven't moved that, Councillor Plum, please.
the amount of assistance is $1,500. What component of that, because I've asked for cash, hire of a generator, extra rubbish bins, and use of the rubbish truck. So do we have a rough idea of what that equates to? I'm for the sponsorship, it's just...
How much is it?
Yeah. Or is it 1,500 cash and then the rest we're doing in kind, or?
Well, I'm assuming that they mean $1,500 cash, and if they can have those other things. Is that right? Or do they mean those other things to be there? Are they valuing that at $1,500 for us?
I think they're just open to any donation at all, Mr Mayor.
Right.
So these would be covered.
Well, that's what I'd like to clarify, because are we given $1,500 cash, and then, I don't know, does that then cost us $500 of in-kind stuff, which I don't have issue with? I just, if it's $2,000, it's $2,000. If it's $1,500 combined, it's $1,500.
Can I ask what the rubbish truck is? How's that work, Mr. Mayor?
Well, I'm assuming that's this truck.
Can I answer that? If you don't mind?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry,
Gosh, do you know the answer?
No, I would assume it was just a tray back.
Councillor Gleeson.
Mr. Mayor, last year when we went over there, the rubbish truck was the absolute brand spanking new council vehicle, council tip truck. And I was a little bit surprised to see that it parked right there beside the bar, that you could walk around and do what gentlemen do, and scratch it, or the kids running around. That was right there, that was rubbish truck. No, just tipping where the bins into it as they need an empty. So, well, just to break this down, the way I likewise don't know a value for those other three things, but I interpret it as definitely $1,500 cash, and then community, then the in-kind for the rest, whatever it's valued at. Would that be their assessment, Councillor? Is that what you read it as?
That's how I read it.
So the generated power pack has obviously a higher rate of value because that's in our fees and charges, so we can calculate what that costs, and then they get that as a community group. Currently, we get that free of charge. The rubbish bins, I don't even know why that has to be in a form, to be honest. I think they could just get them, couldn't they? That's a nil cost, other than, or depends whether they come and pick them up or they come and pick them up. Don't even cost us that, delivering them, you know. And yeah, the rubbish truck, tipper, that's what they're planning to use to empty the wheelie bins. Well, that comes at a cost too if they're hiring that for the day. I mean, it's a calculable cost is what I mean, not necessarily charge them, but we can calculate what that is.
Although that plan should only come with an operator. We don't then.
Yeah,
We don't hire a plan.
I don't
Dry hire
recall
plan, it's got to come with a council operator.
last year.
Councillor Gleeson didn't actually see it being driven, it was just parked, so maybe the council operator did drive it. You saw it just parked there, used as the rubbish receptacle. Yeah. Yeah, so the council operator could have jumped in next morning and taken it to the dump. Council operators would operate that. Yeah. Yeah. About we approve the cash donation, and the CEO works to. So the resolution might need to be agreed to sponsor the Motor Borough Stock Show for the cash sum of $1,500 with in-kind support to be negotiated by the CEO. We know it'll be the district manager, but we can only resolve for it to be the CEO. So the CEO will delegate as he sees fit. Well, we can't direct anyone other than the CEO. Councillor Plummer's moved. Now there's an amendment to what you moved. Are you happy with that? Councillor Peoples will second that. Further discussion?
Other than a comment, Mr Mayor, good to see the community groups using the proper form for the granting.
Two groups to thank, or yes. Three. The two groups and the district manager who brought them forward obviously steered them very quickly. Bring your paperwork. So well done, Paula. Those in favour? 6-0. Right. Information report.
Councillor Rogers again.
Yes, please. Thank you. Well done, Damien. I have somebody move that Jenny's report be received. Councillor Peoples, seconded Councillor Plum. Those in favour? Just receiving the report. 7-0. Questions, or Jenny, have you anything to lead us to?
We discussed that one about the village green lighting before. The Globe Tourist Lookout, we did that visit there yesterday. We received that certificate of occupancy last Friday, the 4th. But the acting CEO and I are going to go down next week to just look at, before opening of the tower, there is full access to the Globe Gallery once you get up the tower. So we're just looking at the options. We did speak to the contractor before they finished about possibility of a gate at the bottom of the stairs. It's just, if there are people having if there's a function up there at the Globe, it's about cutting off that access to the general public. So we've just got to look at that, and we did see that there's a lot of that mesh wire left, so we might be able to get something fabricated out of that. The Tree of Knowledge streetscaping. We're meeting with the carpenter down on Oak Street. All the locations, we've picked the locations along Oak Street. Plaques have been ordered for the plates that are on them. Last week I met with a fellow from a group called Aquatic Weed Control Australia at the Rec Park in the absence of the acting CEO to have a look at the weed that's growing up there. It is treatable. There's actually two sorts of weeds there. One I can remember the name of because it was just called a curly pondweed. The other one had another name, but he's producing a report to be presented to council about what's involved in the cost for that treatment. He said there's two different sorts. Just having a look here. The other thing I have noted down here, and we have discussed a couple of different things, it's how we acknowledge our volunteers in our communities that just do things that we don't ask them to do. And I guess the things that come to mind is the lady who walks every day, who made our Clean Up Australia Day a lot easier, because every morning on her morning walk she is picking up the rubbish around the community. And the volunteers that do work for us at the rec park, well, the days that we don't clean, they're cleaning the toilets. I went up there this morning and they've done the resale up there. The bins have been moved onto the grass area, and there was a volunteer up there this morning moving the bins back to where they are normally located. And that was someone, if I hadn't had an interaction with him about wanting to fertilise the grass up there to bring it back because it was going yellow, I had no idea that this gentleman was going up there, and he probably goes up and assists the other gentleman who's been doing stuff for us since it opened. So I just think one of the suggestions put out was a couple of years back we had a lunch with the volunteers at the Globe, and the majority of the volunteers that we probably recognised there and that came along were those that were going to the information centre. But there's a lot more volunteers in all of our communities that are doing stuff that no one's aware of. And I just think there's, is there something that we have a morning tea or something for these people? I know it's going to be hard to capture everyone in our communities, but maybe it's something we look at having in each of our communities to recognise this work that, no one asks, they just go about their day doing.
Councillor Plum, then.
Could this, providing something for our volunteers as well as the recipients of the Australia Day Awards together? A couple of the recipients have said to me, where are we going to be honoured? Could we have this as well as this? Because all of our recipients on Australia Day are volunteers. A lot of work, volunteer work. So could we add them to the list of our volunteers as well and make it something special for them receiving these awards?
Yes, we can do anything possible.
I just think they need to present it or put it up like that.
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, I did mention this to Jenny just in passing, but when I was at Rotary, we used to hold a community award certificate, and we put a letter into the community clubs and they'd nominate someone in the community, and we give them an award every month, presented an actual award. That's what I do.
Like a local hero almost, yeah. Councillor Peter.
Mr. Mayor, I reckon I agree with Jenny. We have a lot of these people across our area, and I reckon we should have make a night of it, have a big barbecue in a bar and everything, to do something decent. I reckon it should be something that we turn into a celebration every year for our volunteers. Have something pretty substantial.
I'd have 5 of them because you wouldn't get a lot of them to come to one spot, which is fine. I've got no problem with it, or even 2 or 3, but like it'd be difficult for somebody who just quietly picks up the rubbish to.
We could possibly rotate it.
We'll do that, yeah.
Through you, Mr Mayor, International Volunteers Day is the 5th of December. May not be the nicest weather to pat someone on the back for all the work they do, but
There's also Volunteer Week.
Which
We'll
week?
do something then.
Which week in May?
Apparently, I think all, Mr. Mayor, I think all volunteers should be patted on the back in some way, but it's a very difficult one when you've got so many organisations, and it'd be extremely difficult to send out some sort of an invitation to volunteer. Because no matter how hard you think about it and how hard you look into it, you would be missing someone. They should be awarded. Saying that.
Okay, so what would you like as an action from this? We look at the feasibility of some style of event, either in Volunteers Week or on International Volunteers Day. One gives us a lot of time to organise it, which minimises those that might miss it.
Make it in the volunteer week. So
it's closer, but it's national, whereas the International Volunteer Day is further away, which gives us more time, but it's not necessarily.
The thing about it is, coincidentally, that happens to be the day before our final meeting for the year. It doesn't do, so we'll go to the other point about Australia Day shortly. If you deconvolute them and put them on 2 different days, if you had them early in the year, recognising the people that did that, and then towards the end of the year, thanking, like it's like a thank you for the year for everybody that's been a part of it, perhaps, you know. Plus, if we start and compile a list of all of these individual people that our DMs know, it gives us a long time, and we then just quietly add to that people that individually we know that are doing it. Gives us a long time to make it as big or as good as we possibly can have it. What about it? Just an unofficial action. We're not resolving anything out of this, that we look towards hosting an event, displaying our gratitude for our volunteers on behalf of the community on International Volunteers Day, which is the 5th of December.
Yep.
And we'll firm up something out of this. DMs and Angela and others will have a fair bit to do with this, and obviously it's potentially coinciding with an event we already have that we might let go to one side, and this might be a good celebration for our regional staff and councillors to be a part of this instead of a separate standalone event. Take one thing off the program and put another one on. Right, good. Thank you, Jenny. Well done. Questions for Jenny regarding her report?
Mr. Mayor, I think I know the answer, but in the local laws section, gate on Council Road, is that just a gate being left open, or it's not?
No, I'll answer it for you. It's a gate across a council road instead of a grid. So I very nearly hit. With the Deputy Mayor in the front left-hand seat, Councillor Arthur sitting directly behind her. Didn't nearly hit it.
I was going to say, Mr Mayor, we were somewhere.
Yeah, it's a shock of seeing it. Now, I can guarantee you it isn't very new. In fact, it would predate anyone sitting in this room in age. Been there for a very long time. Now, not going to be there for very much longer.
Well, please, I brought it up, but I still don't know where it is.
I'll tell you, it's on the Sutton Creek Road.
Yeah.
Surely you know about it, it's almost your neighbour.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I know about it, and it's on a bad bend, and
It's got nothing going for it at all. It's in breach of our policy, it contributes negatively to road safety.
it creates the big gully and breakaway there going through the fence beside it. Been there many times.
Opened and shut it, no doubt.
I've opened and shut it once.
Councillor Rogers was far more polite than the Mayor. She actually shut the gate. I would have driven away and left it open. Anyway, Sorry, Jenny, didn't need to speak for you there, but considering I was the instigator of all of the problem behind that, I thought I'd take responsibility answering the question.
It's okay, Mr. Mayor. You knew where it was, and I was.
Enough said.
My other question through you is the Buckhorn Racecourse. We did discuss it a little. There's an area there that they've been required to remove some soil and replace some soil.
Can I help facilitate this meeting? So once again, sorry, Jenny. So a couple of people from the club, trainers, locals that approached me, that also approached Jenny and others. And so with Brett, we just facilitated a meeting with our staff over there, looking at, with people who use it, looking at the areas, and they said that they may be able to facilitate some in-kind support as well as access some grant funding. Between Brett and I, we thought, well, we've got staff who are good at measuring and calculating what might be required, which Jenny's staff and the Director of Work staff have done here. That's written there as a note. That's been provided to club.
No, we haven't. We haven't had a chance to discuss it further. I haven't.
Right.
I will talk to you about some other information I found out.
So basically, it wasn't. We were certainly the complete reverse of committee council to doing anything. We were just helping have a conversation about what might be required, whether there was any changed operations around, because we've got a sprinkler set up there, whether we can run some of them for longer. It was just a very positive, healthy discussion about how we can facilitate outside investment in the upkeep of that. And yes, our staff have calculated what area might be best if it was replaced. You know, plus obviously the obvious flattening out of some hills and that sort of stuff. There's nothing, we haven't got any money in our budget to do it. So if it happens, it'll happen by others, you know, external parties.
That last line answered my question.
They may come to us with a proposal to incorporate it in next year's budget, but it's certainly not committed to by us in any way because we haven't budgeted to do that. District manager's shaking her head, so that's the way it is. But yes, that was just to facilitate the arrangement, have a discussion about it, identify where the problem areas are, see whether there's solutions like extra watering. We've got equipment there that can help them probably maintain it better. I think there's been a bit of a once it got to the situation where it requires remedying, but once it is remedied, combination of water and using equipment that we've got on hand can probably eliminate or minimise the chance of this repeating itself in the future. Big heavy, cut a long roller there and run the water in those sections for a bit longer. The prevailing wind doesn't help because most sections of the track it waters quite well, but on that bend from the finish post around to probably around the 1600, the wind is against it, so it doesn't carry to the inside of the track, which is obviously where most of them were. Combination, but no, certainly not a committed council, and there wasn't an expectation from the stakeholders that happened because they were very forward that they have access to some potential opportunities to help fund it and support in kind from members of the public. But it is a council asset, so it was important that we had a look at what was potentially going to have occurred. Councillor Plum.
Can I just ask one question to Jenny? With regards to the Tropic of Capricorn, is that the design of the sign over at the mill, or is that to go on the Aramac Road where the Tropic?
Mr. Mayor, it is near the windmill. That's not where the site actually is.
Are we going to do anything about where the site actually is on the Aramac Road?
A budget, is it?
No, not at this stage.
We can do it in the budget if you want to.
Yeah, I just had a couple of locals that have asked me why it isn't rich. It's on the Aramac Road, that's all, and I just...
It does move, Mr. Mayor, also.
Every second.
Put on wheels, isn't it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The reasoning behind I probably should let the person who actually put the project up to speak to the subject. I'll hand over to the acting
CEO. It's taken 2 days, but it's finally happened. Well done, Jimmy. Here's the hospital pass.
Sorry.
So, mate, you'll be fist pumping on that one. It was more nicely done than the entire Pakistani batting order performance last night. He doesn't miss a chance, so.
It's all made.
Yep, so you're right, that obviously someone stolen the original sign and out on the Aramac Road. So originally the intention was to put something out there. So we thought it was probably safer in town where it's seen, but it wouldn't cost much to actually just put like a street sign that says Tropica Capricorn.
Even that would be fine. And just put some locks on the wheels.
We would need to work with TMR. If it was to become a photo point or an area where people pulled over consistently to do the whole selfie with the Tropica cap, they would want to know what we're planning to do, where we're planning to put it, proximity to the road, impact on road traffic.
That section is very narrow. That fence is quite close to the road. Probably don't have enough clearance. Put it on the other side, pull off. You put it on the other side.
Then you're pulling off against traffic flow. It's a whole, I mean, it's not where it says it is in Longreach either, but they all love it there. They'll pull up the water town and get their photo taken. Not even in town in Longreach. I don't know if it ever even was. Longreach. Sorry, it was, but Longreach was very liberal. It moves a pretty substantial amount, Councillor Arthur.
I think it does fluctuate a bit.
Yeah. And it's not consistent in its direction of move. Is that right?
No, I think it floats back and forth.
Climate change.
I don't know the reason.
All right. More questions for Jenny. Now we're starting to get frivolous, councillors.
No, just a comment, Mr Mayor. I had a resident talk to me yesterday just about some overgrown properties in town, but I note that it's on district manager's report in 2 of our 3 areas. It's on our radar.
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes, letters. There has been quite a lot of letters gone out in the last few weeks.
All right. 382. For
15 metres a year.
that's what I mean. It's a massive. You need to have pneumatic tyres. You wouldn't want solid rubbers. Yeah.
Where that original sign is, way down the road now.
It'd be halfway to Mudborough from Longreach by now. Like, that's fine. It's been there for 30 years. More. Been there all my life. Near 40 years.
Are you saying, Mr Mayor, that it's going to fall off the face of the earth one of these days?
So not my meterage. It'll beat the Tropic of Capricorn shortly. Cancer, it'll be up way onto the equator. No, it moves backwards and forwards. It's not consistent in its direction of travel.
Plus, Australia's tracking north ever so slightly per year.
It says north, moving north.
15 minutes.
I don't know if I believe everything Google tells me in that case, but anyway, we're moving on. Agenda item 382. We are not here discussing geography. My God, I drug into some conversations that I don't want at the time. 382. Councillor Hanson, you could have held that. You could have moved a point of order and moved us right along then.
Good have done, Mr. Chairman. I was enjoying the conversation.
Can I get a bit more information? What's happening here? Please?
Jenny, would you like to speak to this? Or?
Mr Mayor, having included, I didn't include the videos that I showed. I can pass those on. I haven't attended any of these workshops, so I can't speak to what they discuss or train there, and all my information is about training people to be leaders. And some of the workshops, it looks like it's a trust. From the videos, it looks like in the leadership it's a trusting measures in it as well. Yeah.
Please, I can add to any set.
Thank you.
So I've attended 2 of these, once 2017 in Barkey and then one in Longreach. And it was put together 7 or 8 years ago by Redbridge, like a few different organisations come together, and they just saw a need out here to try and, I think it's a need everywhere, but in the Central West, to try to develop more leaders in our communities. And when they say leaders, it's not just people like councillors or high-end leaders. It's like leaders of every different organisation, volunteers. Even to be a volunteer nowadays, like, it's really hard to get volunteers that aren't, not even a committee member, like they're just volunteers. So they put this organisation together and started having these leadership workshops every year, always in a different town throughout the Central West. And they try to get enough funding to allow them to give the opportunity to people in the community who may not be able to afford that do it, or other people they can apply to have a space in their workshops. Each different town, like, they get sponsorship from different councils in the different towns, but also from Redbridge and other organisations. I found that the workshops were really, really inspiring and taught a lot. So I really appreciated what I learnt there. I think it'd be a good opportunity for anyone else. Like, I don't intend to attend this one, but anyone in this room, I think, would get a lot out of it. Also, they've asked, it looks like they're asking for a lot here, but they are quite happy to accept whatever assistance that we can give them. If it's only the globe, if it's only the venue, they're quite happy with whatever we can afford to sponsor them, if we can afford to sponsor them. And I think the reason they've asked for 5 spaces is probably just in recognition. Usually it's any town they go to, they ask 3 councils. But because we've got 5 towns, I guess they would, I think they said somewhere that it would be nice to have a representative from each town. Doesn't mean that they'll get one from each town, because maybe there would be someone in Barkey or Jericho, whoever there might be. There might not be 5 people under a town. That's what it was all about right at the start. It's just developing leaders in our Central Western region.
I think there's a quote from one of the participants at Blackwall, it's on 2 pages, but it struck me. If you're involved in any group association and are looking to improve your leadership skills, I highly recommend you attend a workshop. You will be challenged, forced to take a long, hard look at how you communicate, and by the end of 3 days be mentally drained. But it will be worth it. You'll discover so much about yourself and learn practical skills you can put into practice. This is a solid line, this one. No self-actualising or other BS. Just solid information skills and practical advice for your personal self-improvement. So it seems pretty hands-on, pretty direct, and
Mr. Mayor, I did the Building Rural Leaders program years ago, and I think that was the forerunner to this. Sounds exactly the same. And it's probably the best thing I ever did, so in terms of learning. So I'd recommend this to any person in the community who wants to be a leader in terms of just their organisational business.
Mr. Mayor, just to add to that, when the one that I attended, both of them, there were quite a few young people there. Like, so from the one that I attended here, there were young young people that were from Arramat-Muttaburra way that I know now are in committees that weren't. And also, when I was at Longreach, there were young people from Barkey that went to Longreach to attend, and they are the same. So I'm not saying that it was only because of this that they had the confidence to go on with something extra, but...
So do we pick 5 people? If there's 20 people apply, do we single out 5 to get the 800 of registration?
Through you, Mrs. Mayor, I think what they do that, they put an ad out and say, please, apply for this, and I think they've got a panel and then they decide. If we sponsor that, we don't have anything. I don't believe we do. Yeah. They just...
Through Ms. Mayor, from the conversations I've had with the committee, yes. The conversation I've had with the committee, no, there's been no indication.
When's the local government working camps?
Sorry?
When's the local government conference? Is it that week?
Usually October.
Yeah, it's October.
To Mr. Mayor, the last weekend in October. So it goes over a weekend.
It'll be in the week of that.
28th to 30th of October for 3 days.
24th will be. That's a blessing.
Mr. Mayor, in the letter,
The persons that are, a couple of questions first. In the persons who are running this event, that are running the speakers and that, they would be paid people by somebody. Nobody does anything for nothing. So they're getting paid to come here.
Through Mr. Mayor, the people who come and facilitate the workshop, it's not always the same ones, but they come from away, like they're professionals who know how to promote or leadership. They facilitate leadership workshops, so it might not always cost the same either. It's depending on the standing of those facilitators.
Okay, you've answered that part of it. My next part is they've asked for sponsorship. They want the use of the gallery for the globe for 3 days and available chairs and tables and chairs and projector screens and whiteboards. I myself are in favour of that part of the section, but not the 4,400. Not the 4,000.
Mr. Mayor,
It's actually written in here 4,400. 4,000.
Where's it written? 4,400?
that's one's in the GST inclusive.
Including GST, well, I'm sorry, when I look at something, GST, I look at GST because you've got to pay, somebody's got to pay for it, so I was looking at 4,400.
Mr. Mayor, they're a not-for-profit organisation, so they actually get, well, depending on what happens with the fees and charges budget, under the current budget, they actually get the globe and that equipment for free, and the tables and chairs and everything are already at the globe. And I do have a budget that I can share with you outside of the meeting from the group.
Well, so, Mr. Mayor, that was one question, because the letter references I've attached our budget to demonstrate how we intend to fund the program. And the way I read it, it does say this, well, it does say this sponsorship could provide one local community member from each Barcaldine Regional Council to attend the course of full. But I guess we have the option of, because even that resolution implies that we're giving the sponsorship in return for attendance of 5 local community members. Whereas if we, then I don't have a problem with us not having that as a caveat, but if we don't have any control over that, or if that's not the intention, then in my opinion that resolution probably has to change a little bit.
Yeah, because the letter's very explicit. It says one community member from each Barcaldine Regional Council.
It could. So if we go that way.
For free. That's where I think this is good. I mean, obviously we're the hosts, so we benefit from having these extra people in this community, the visitors to the community, and it gives our locals the opportunity, courtesy of us, to attend, where they would have to put $800 out of their pocket in to go and do it, just to simply be like, you know, more and more volunteers paying to do more and more. You know, that's why it's harder to get any of them. So, provided yes, we can find, and I mean, if Councillor Rogers is right, if somebody, we can't, for some particular reason, source one from one community that there isn't somebody willing or wanting or interested, well, that gives us the opportunity to move that somewhere else. But I think the basis for the resolution is that we seek one person from each of our 5 communities to attend it. What we're doing is we're not lining the pockets of a multinational here, we're actually saving our ratepayer having to put in $800 to go and help resource themselves to lead a community group, which is, I don't know, not too many community groups I go to that aren't staffed by all the same people doing different jobs at different events. So if we can encourage and skill some different people into it, I think it'd be great. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. Councillor Plum.
I'm still thinking.
Councillor Arthur.
If the $4,000 plus GST provides us one person from each town, on
where we can source that.
Where we can source that. If it's left up to the group to take the 20 highest, then I would probably be at half of that level of sponsorship. But if we can have some control over...
If we can ensure that they're one of each community's represented.
Yep. Or at least that's the intention. Yeah. If it means we get 2 from Alpha and no one from Barkey wants to go, then so be it. But if...
Councillor Hinton.
Yes, through you, Mr Mayor, I agree with Councillor Arthur that the sponsorship ban should be 5 people from that community.
Councillor Gleeson, you're against the money but in favour of the rest?
Mr Mayor, we'd have to be careful that one of us, 5 or 6 or 7, weren't in the freebies. Wouldn't we?
Well, once again, we're supporting this sponsorship. It doesn't say in there that council will get an interim in it. So we're no greater chance than anyone else in our community from receiving it. So if I were you, as a councillor, would stay as far away from it as possible. We're not here about providing professional development for councillors. We're here to provide opportunity for community members to grow in leadership skills.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Mr. Mayor. Like if any one of us did want to go to it, we can hand it in your pocket and pay for it yourself.
Individual decision of that. Yep, so Councillor Peebles.
I'm to free use of the gallery and equipment and everything, Mr Mayor. Same as I think Councillor is.
Councillor.
I'll give Councillor Plum a bit more time to think. If we do go with the $4,000, where does that come out of the budget? If that end up in our meeting, it just says budget implication of $4,000. It doesn't necessarily identify it.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mayor. I have a budget available for this. For this financial year, I was thinking. We haven't confirmed the budget for next financial.
Well, yes, so it's next financial year, so it's contingent upon what we.
Good point.
Yeah, hand down.
Yes, sorry. Deal.
Okay, so Councillor Plum.
No, you're...
I've
back to you.
I've sort of been through this. It's the same thing in Company West End. This sort of thing. And I'm quite happy to give them the venue, the equipment. If we're going to get one person from each town, then we're providing a sponsorship. We've got to get the right people here. So who's going to, are they going to assess that? You want the right people that you know that spending this sort of money is going to move on with it and scoop it up and go with it.
Councillor Arthur's suggestion is that council play a role in selecting those 5 people, or assessing the applicants to ensure that each community is represented. I think, notwithstanding some may vote against this, but I think we'll need to amend it to read for the free attendance of 5 local community members after members identified, free's already there, free attendance of 5 local community members Councillor Arthur.
Selected in conjunction with Upland Regional Council.
And you want to put 5 local, instead of local, put 5 community members representing each town area, where possible.
Or do we just say 5 local community members in brackets, 1 per town, preferably?
Where possible. Yep.
Or where possible.
So in brackets, 1 per town area where possible.
Because what would we do, like what would happen if there were 5 but 2 were from Alpha and 2 were from Merrimack and 1 was here, or there wasn't one interested in some of the towns, but there were 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, where possible.
Yeah.
So that's the qualifier. It might get broken up elsewhere if no one.
Ideally we get 1 Alpha Town Rural, 1 Jericho Town Rural, Barkey Town. But if that doesn't happen, if maybe there's no one interested from Barkey but there's 2 from Merrimack, then we have some power around the decision of those 5. The other 15, that's up to the...
Are you moving that?
Yes, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Arthur moves. Is there a second at Councillor Heath? Debate. Is there a comment? Councillor Plum.
Who pays, so if Longridge attend, so who pays for those people to
Individuals can pay their own.
That's what I'm saying. They probably have to pay for their own.
That's right, but we don't represent them.
Did you pay for that? I did. The first one, I think, I'd already applied. It came out even before, like, I was in council. You know what I mean? You applied to go in it and got accepted and then did it. And then when I went to Longreach, I paid. But there were people, each council, like Longreach will probably be sponsoring this even here. They'll probably be sponsoring some positions. Like I can't say that, but they would have been approached. Yeah. And Blackwall and Windora, like it's up to them whether they sponsor some people from their communities to come here to Barcaldine. And there's other organisations that have been approached to sponsor. There could be more than 5 people from Barcaldine who get to go to this.
It's just this 4,000 helps them go.
Yeah, like I don't know who else has been approached, but just for example, if DBA had been approached, they may have even sponsored some as well. Like we don't know that, right? Or another business coming.
Right. Any further questions, comments?
Mr Mayor, should we, the 1 per town, should that be town rural area, just so that we're not...
Well, that's why I put town area, so the Alpha area.
Yeah, just as long as that's clear, like just...
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like, they don't have to live in town.
Yeah.
Right, all the vote, those in favour? Against? 5-2, carried. aware that you have a hot lunch sitting there, and it's probably been there for some time. Would you like to keep going? So here we go, 391. Councillor Peoples moves, seconded Councillor Rogers. Those in favour, carried. Angela?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I just want to thank all the volunteers for the North Australia Day. The general feedback was that our towns are pretty clean, which is good to hear. Also, the Mad Bag Mini Triathlon, we have changed into a colour run for this year, just with volunteers. It was a decision that we made with the Linga family to do it, and then a percentage of the fees will be given as a donation to the shave that they're doing that evening. We have also, our Buckledon region has made the cover of the Outback Queensland Travellers Guide this year with the Lake Dunn Sculpture Trail on the cover. So that was good publicity for us. That's all I needed to mention. Is there any
questions for Angela? Okay. 392.
Mr Mayor?
Yes.
I just asked Angela, there's been some talk about Labor weekend. So are we, and I thought that we were getting Angela to advertise that. Is that going on?
To advertise what?
The festival, Labor Festival. Is it?
I don't know what we're advertising, but anyway, Angela. Sorry.
Mr Mayor, I have not received, I have heard from the community groups since our last meeting, but I have not received any marketing material from the community groups. Jenny, will have a number of reports at our next council meeting with requests for assistance. We have had a number of conversations with the community groups as well in the last 3 weeks.
Just that people are away, they're asking what's happening, is it still going ahead?
We can't promote it if they don't tell us what they're doing.
So there has been a Facebook post that has indicated that the races,
The Rugby League,
RevFest, May Day March, and our medical service is going ahead. And I have heard from the markets, and they have asked if I can help with the promotion material for that, which I have advised that I'm happy to help them with that.
Right, 392, Australian Traveller Advertising. Resolution. Councillor Peoples.
I'm going to say it does not, Mr Mayor.
Second up. Councillor Plum, debate.
Does not.
Does not, yep. Those in favour? 6-0. 393. Bendigo Monthly Leisure and Travelling Guide Advertising. I move that Council does not agree. Second up, Councillor Peoples, debate. Those in favour? Gary? 7-0. Sorry, you're in favour of that. 6-0. 394. Caravanning Australia.
You asked me, mate.
All move does not.
Councillor Hanson moves does not. Councillor Gleeson seconds. Debate.
All in favour?
I haven't asked for the debate. You're all silent for that long.
Mr Mayor, I think, the last three resolutions, I think, any of that money is better spent us advertising more specifically with some of the things that we already do. And yeah, I would think that the run of requests for that sponsorship is to a certain extent COVID related, and as we get close to tourist season, that yeah, they've all had a rough time of it, as we all have. But yeah, it's a lot of money for, would be very hard to quantify any increase or benefit. Yeah.
Those in favour? Carried. 6-0. Out of Abington.
Councillor Rogers.
Yep.
Never to get about.
Out of Abington.
Through Mr. Mayor, I did watch the YouTube video. Not particularly a jazz person, but it sounded pretty good. But it's something different for the region. Yeah, I'll leave it in your hands.
Budget is next year, is it not? Yes, so we can budget this accordingly, but you have money in this year's budget for it anyway.
I do have money.
$1,000.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so do we get the ticket
We get-
returns?
Yeah.
Right, so if we do sell
$50,000.
20 tickets, there's $400 back.
Do we have a mover? We're moving and we do it.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Arthur's moving that we agree. Councillor Hanson is seconding. Favour?
Can I ask a question, Mr. Mayor?
Your question, sorry, yes. Favour or question?
Have you seen Out of Abington?
No, I'm not. I'm a bit like hands-on, not necessarily.
Are you a jazz person?
Not necessarily, but yeah.
That's all I want to know, Mr. Mayor. Thank
No,
you.
Oh, seriously?
I could do an impromptu jazz dance.
I'm going to call the vote in the interest of not seeing that. Those in favour? 7-0. Win TV Tourism Advertising. Sorry, you'll have to leave again. I thought they were in that order. I didn't realise. Sorry. Yes, Councillor Plum.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move that we do agree to advertise on Win TV at $1,000.
Do I have a seconder for Councillor Rogers? Plum's motion.
I'm happy to second that, but can we have a look at whoever does these, probably Angela? But if we've got 9 packages, can we we spoke about, it's good to advertise events, can we try and include some of our events in some of this TV advertising?
We don't have 9 packages, do we?
9 live packages.
Channel 9.
Right.
9. That's the name of their thing. It's called the 9 Life Package. 9 representing channel, not 9 individual packages.
Okay, but we did discuss this morning about trying to do events, so if there's any way we can push that in there, I'd be happy with that.
So this is already been filmed, isn't it? Is that correct?
Yeah, so we were going to use video that we've already had packaged up so that we didn't have the costs of the additional filming, but we would need to add some new attractions.
Captions?
Attractions.
In captions?
In captions.
And
captions. Captions, a bit of...
Add captions.
Yeah. Tree of knowledge is such and such a weekend, or that can be written.
It's...
Councillor Bush.
My question, cost of $1,000, is it a 20-second ad on one afternoon, one evening, or primetime TV, or 2 o'clock in the morning? Do you know much about it?
Yeah, so there would be 188 spots, 56 would be on Life, 28 on 9, Gem and Go. And I believe it's a 30-second spot, but it might be, 30-second spot.
And the $1,000 is, well, that's it, $1,000 check.
That's right, it's one-off commitment.
Yeah, for the 188 spots. However, there would be some costs with getting a couple of additional filming things. But like the rec park, we already have some of that.
In this year's budget now?
Yes, so I'm sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Gleeson, I have tourism budget still available.
Thank you for that.
Perhaps Councillor Peoples, if there's already, if we're looking at attractions as part of this, is already, perhaps we take a broader view towards capturing over the next period of time this year's events, some more detailed event-based footage.
I'm good with that, Mr. Mayor.
And we repackage for perhaps the 22-3 advertising, and we may go with two. We may go with an attraction for the sake of an extra 1,000. We might do one series of 188 ads promoting our events and 188 ads promoting our attractions, so that we don't have to redo. If we've got an existing ad cut, let's run with it to save production costs.
Yeah.
That might be an interim solution.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would say that the races would probably have, the alpha races have some video. Tree of Knowledge Festival, I know we have video for that. Some of the other groups may have video that we might be able to
find pretty low cost to get hold of.
Yeah, to cut it together in order to do that.
Seconded, Councillor Peoples, this motion that we move with this one for now. Is there any further comment? Councillor Plum?
Mr. Mayor, I do remember in the information centre report on Friday there that a lot of the people that came down from the north, you had to ask them where they got to find out about us, and it was on the TV. So that was in Heidi's report.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Plum, the 7 ad that we did in 2020, a lot of people saw that, and we're ringing up for brochures, we're asking for more information. So that did have a huge impact, especially because we put it out September, October, and that was when all the restrictions were opening up. So we had a high number of calls during that time for people wanting information on our region.
So should we go back and look at that as well?
Mr. Mayor, I can get a quote from Channel 7 as well if you'd like.
Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, do we have an idea, Angela, when this goes public or live?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Arthur, we can, as soon as we have the video together, we can start advertising.
Those in favour? 6-0. All right. Question on notice. Councillor Rogers can join us. I have somebody moved that we received a report with a lot of questions on notice from February. Councillor Arthur. Seconded, Councillor Hanson. Those in favour? 7-0. Right. Questions on notice for March. Councillor Peters.
Questions on notice from March? No, I think I'm pretty good, thanks, Mr.
Councillor Gleeson.
A couple of questions, Mr. Mayor. Regarding the tender of the toilet facilities, when that tender comes back in, have the councillors got any say in the matter there at all? Can we, before I'd imagine it's got to, there's money got to be involved in it, and it's got to be a budget item. Before the tenders get allocated, does it come back before the council?
Question on notice. Done.
Next question. The Buckland landfill, waste landfill, we went out and had a little bit there yesterday. It'll be manned, is it got to be manned all the time, like over the weekends? here to take out their rubbish. They're not allowed to go and put it into the rubbish, into the area, number one. And number two...
Councillor Gleeson, I can answer the first bit. No one ever goes near the pit, ever. Monday to Friday, no one ever goes inside that area where we were standing yesterday unless you're a BRC employee. You dump outside. There's bins that aren't currently in place alongside the ramp. No member of the public, from the minute we activate that pit, will ever have access to it without council supervision. Monday to Friday, Saturday to Sunday, 1st of January to the 31st of December, I'm in Memorial.
So that area is secure. Nobody goes in there. That area is secure.
That's the intent. And so that there's a transfer station at the front, and we transfer the rubbish from there in ours. But the question I notice, but I can tell you that answer straight away.
So the little local dump truck, little local garbage truck that runs around here, a little compactor truck that runs around here, he just dumps in the bins as well, or is he allowed?
Question I notice, but he's an employee, so it depends on the management of the facility as to whether they want to sort what comes out of his. But that's a question I know.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Henson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Arthur.
Mr. Mayor, just a question about the oval at the showgrounds here. I know we've had some hot weather. It just seems to be very dry and dead grassy in patches. So do we know of an issue with the sprinkler systems over there? Or?
Question on notice. Any answers to this so we get out of session, we can have circulated before the next meeting. It might be as simple as email tomorrow. Any more? Councillor Plum.
Just to go back to if we could just keep tapping on the main roads, maybe we could put a mural along that cement path up the main street if we can't attach anything to it. We could just keep on seeing what we can do there.
We might have a more broad discussion about what you really want, because it could differ. I'm not going to go to battle on everyone's individuals, so we may have a discussion as a council about what you actually want to see, and then I'll go and ask CMR permission, because everyone could have a different idea. So we'll have a strategy meeting about what we want to see and so on.
Also, is there any chance of getting a works order to fix the fridges at the camp drive shed, please, for the next camp drive?
Any more?
And so we have a grazier that attaches to the common in Jericho that's sent Councillor Gleeson and I an email. We could have that responded to let him know about the Harissa cactus.
That which?
Harissa cactus, to let him know. He's emailed us. And I want it responded to by council.
Have you forwarded that to?
I will. My iPad's sitting over there.
Okay. Well, we would have already responded if we'd have had the email.
It's only just received emails.
Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, did that email only come to you online?
Yes.
We can't do much about it if we don't have it.
Sorry,
I just wanted to know if it could be responded to.
That's why you don't know anything about it. I honestly thought that it went that way. Sorry.
90% of it doesn't go to the CEO, and only a fraction of it comes to me.
That's all.
Councillor Rogers, you've had about 6 goes, but I can actually give you the chair now, or the floor, I should say.
Mr. Mayor, one I think we know the answer to, but there's been a few people asking when the park down across the road from the IGA is closed and if it will be reopened. And then the other one is, someone asked me the other day whether the toilets on the way up down across from the dump, the lights are on all the time. So, or the lights, can they have timed lights? Like if the lights were on timers, they could go off. There's a lot of insects and bugs, and they attract a lot of rubbish, like makes it harder for people to get in there right with all the pity boats and everything, but also I thought that great idea.
Save money.
Save money with electricity, but maybe, I don't know whether, are there any other public toilets that have got the, you know, you just press them and they go on?
Yeah, the Alpha Showgrounds toilets.
Yeah, I just thought, yeah, that's a good way to put it across the
It's
whole.
the time sensitive button, and if the button was, yeah, it's not even a timer, like it's supposed to be just a spring.
Maybe 10 minutes and then it goes off.
Question on those, well done. Any more? Right. Any place, 104. Thank you.